Good evening, everyone. This is John Screaming Eamon here with Ben Karras from Slaughtersun. Ben, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. Just really happy to be here. Thanks for having me on, John.
You're very welcome. Glad to have you here. Who rounds out the band,
So
if you
the
don't
band,
mind?
other than myself, my drummer Jason Quinones, he's from the band Tombstoner. Cody McCory on bass. He used to play in Thank You Scientist with me, and he's got a project called We Used to Cut the Grass, which he's leading at the moment. And then Chris Alfano is the newest member, our vocalist, and he's in a bunch of various bands. The most notable one being East of the Wall.
Yeah. So you guys spread out quite a bit in a bunch of different projects, or?
Yeah, we all have our own other things. This band, this one is my project. I started this.
Okay.
It was a long time coming. A couple of my other bands, Thank You Scientist, which I'm still active in. It's like a prog rock sort of fusion band. That takes up a fair amount of time. And Windfair was like my black and folk metal band that I've been with for the longest. And that's kind of on it's on the back burner, on a hiatus at the moment. We all have other things going on in life, but
Yeah.
Slaughtersun was me saying, I got these ideas and I need to steer the ship.
All right. So a lot different sounding than your other albums and other
I,
projects.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So a little bit of the history of the band. Because you
History.
guys formed in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
2017 is when I sat down and started working on demos where, I didn't necessarily have a band or a defined outlet yet, but
Okay.
when I started the concept of, okay, I want to do something just violin, bass, guitar, and drums, no guitars. Windfair is two guitars, bass, drums, and me playing violin on top. So this is eliminating the guitars, and that's what back in 2017 is when I started doing some demos, and I would just dabble with it from time to time. And a few years ago, back in 2023 or so, I decided to get serious, and I got some friends together who were willing to contribute, and decide to actually break ground with the project.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely thrilling to see a violinist in a death metal band. I'll say that much. It took my breath away when I saw the video. I'm like, what? Because I knew the tone was different than a guitar, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that much about the band up until last week. But then when I started watching that videos, and I'm like, saw the violin, and it really took me aback. But
Cool.
it's fantastic. The sound is amazing on that album.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The EP, I also I did the production myself. Because that's one thing I do in addition to my own music. I record and produce other bands. So
Okay.
I appreciate that. It's a good feeling when other people like the production as a whole.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm waiting to hear more because I've been listening to you guys most of last night, and then pretty much all day today, and
Nice.
I'm actually hungry to hear more of it. So,
Well, good. Well, we have a little something. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but we're planning to drop it later this year to bridge the gap between now and our album's completion. And the album's moving along. Not up to schedule the way I had hoped. Having a 6-month-old, can delay things, But no, we're moving along. We actually just finished tracking the bass today, so
okay.
that's done. The main rhythm tracks are done. It's mostly just vocals and some overdub solos left to record, and then I'm going to sit down and bury my head in the mix.
Are you going to be dropping another single at any time soon?
So there will be a single coming out, yes. But a little later this year. The date's not set just yet, but
Okay.
yes, we will have something coming out for you all to listen to.
Can I get a little teaser of a name?
Um, I'll say it's a cover that we're going to release.
Okay.
But I won't say anything more just yet.
All right. Appreciate it. I do.
Yeah.
And you touch on one of the things I was going to ask about is when the album was going to be released. So definitely you're going to be looking forward to that. And is it going to be a lot? It's all violin, so you're not doing any guitars in Slaughtersun at all, right?
No, I can't play the guitar nearly well enough. And by the time I got into metal, I was a teenager, and yeah, I was pretty good at playing violin. I'd been playing since I was 6, 7 years old. And
Okay.
you know, the thought of I was a lazy kid, so the thought of picking up a new instrument and starting from scratch is just like, oh, that's a lot of work. So I just, you know, maybe out of laziness, you could say, I decided to just start trying to make my violin sound like a guitar. So yeah, I got an electric violin when I was like 14 or 15 years old, and then I got a distortion pedal. My dad plays electric bass, and he had, you know, a Gallon Kruger, just a solid state head. So I put a distortion pedal in front of that, and that's where I started. That's where I experimented. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this lately because when I was doing some reamps for the album and, you know, chasing tone, I kind of find I frequently disappoint myself because in my head I'm hearing a guitar tone, but a guitar is a whole octave lower than the instrument that I'm playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you know, I spend all this time trying to get sounds in my head, but the instrument, it's the wrong instrument. Which you know, I step back, I think it's kind of funny, but yeah, that's one thing that I guess is a challenge, and sometimes makes me second guess myself when I'm putting something out. It's like trying to do something that might not exactly be possible, just physically with the tool that I have. But I think in the end that it's, you know, it's a byproduct of it's going to be unique no matter what, because
Oh
I'm using
yeah,
a different
very.
tool. Yeah. So I sleep well at night thinking that.
Yeah. And how does the songwriting go? Like with writing riffs with a violin, got to be a little bit challenging, or no?
I mean, I'd say any instrument has its challenges, and when you get proficient enough, you know, all instruments, you know, you can, if you know your instrument, you can produce something. Obviously, if you're playing a saxophone, you can only play one note at a time, but at least violin, it's, you know, it's a stringed instrument, so I can play double stops, triple stops, you know, not a full 6 string chord like you could on a guitar, but you know, I make do. Luckily, metal's a lot of power chords, a lot of fifths.
Oh yeah.
You know, I use that to my advantage. Fifths for me, I'm playing them with just a single finger, so I can do certain runs in fifths that, you know, a guitar player would just be cramming up the neck, which, you know, a lot of the sick players, they can totally do, but you know, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I do the bulk of the songwriting. Like I basically demo out ideas and I bring them to the band. You know, I open the floor for interpretation. Jason, he's really good at listening to parts that I have, and, you know, if something doesn't flow quite right to him, he's great at articulating. Take this part, maybe put this over here. We need just something to bridge these two sections, and voila, you know, we'll get it in a couple of rehearsals. You know, something that we really like.
Yeah. How often you guys rehearse? Is it like weekly or?
I wish. Rehearsals are just kind of as needed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been playing in bands for years. All of us have. So the mindset that I had going in was, I'll provide all the materials, the demos, you know, make it as clear as possible what my parts are, so you guys can, you know, work on your parts, and then we'll just do our homework and get into the room and just be really focused. So we rehearse as needed. You know, obviously getting ready to record. A lot of one-on-one sessions with Jason, getting the drums hammered in. Just using my studio to our advantage. So, you know, as long as me and Jason are tight, you know, tracking together, getting a groove, then okay, we can lay the drums down. Cody, he's a full-time musician. He's gigging all the time. He's probably the toughest to nail down for rehearsals and meetups. But, you know, he plays like nobody else. He's incredible. So he comes in and he's got the shit down.
All right.
So yeah, so I don't have to worry about him. I know he's going to come in and he's going to know what he's doing. That's kind of the vibe that we work with, and it's working. Obviously, I'd love to meet on a weekly basis, but it's tough.
Okay. Do you guys get to do many shows?
Ideally more. We've done a handful this year so far. We have 3 more coming up in September. Philadelphia on September 11th, Harrisburg on the 12th, and Clifton, New Jersey on the 13th. Our Instagram page has the flyers for those.
Okay.
But yeah, and then we're going to have another show in October, another Jersey show.
All
So
right.
that's all we have booked at the moment. And then, you know, we'll see about next year. We'll see when the album release is actually planned. So that'll depend if we end up getting a label, if we end up self-releasing, when that actually hits the ground. And I'd like to do some support shows around it.
All right. Have you guys back on here as well when that album release drops, if you're willing to.
Yeah, we'd love to. Maybe
All
get
right.
a couple of the other guys too.
Yeah, if you want to get the whole band, I can have you all on here. So,
Perfect.
so with some of the shows you guys have any funny stories, stuff happen on stage?
Funny stories. I'm trying to think. I mean, other than just some really comically enthusiastic fans. I remember there was this one guy at a gig. It was in Allentown last year. The whole set, like he saw me, and he just went up to the stage, looked me in the eye, beer in one hand, and then he just went, and then just for a slightly uncomfortably long amount of time. So yeah, nothing. Yeah, we don't have nothing totally crazy, but not at this time. But yeah, we'll get there.
Do your fans get going in a pit pretty much?
I mean, we're a pretty new band, so not a ton of moshing yet, but yeah, we did have we had a pretty solid pit up in East Hampton, Massachusetts, pretty recently. That was our most recent show, about a month or two ago now. Yeah, people opened up during one of our newer songs, so it was actually the first time playing that tune. So seeing a pit open up to that was quite rewarding.
Yeah. What song was that?
The working title is called Testicular Manslaughter.
Okay.
That's probably not going to be the final title, but I'd like to come up with obscene working titles. Testicular Manslaughter is one. Demolition Hammer Colonoscopy is another one that's going to be on the upcoming album. The 10-foot barefoot clone of an obsolete species. That one, it's that one maybe we'll stick that one around because that one just kind of makes you think for a sec.
It does.
Opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, Unearthly Propaganda. That's obviously the intro
Mm-hmm.
To your EP. Fall of Firmament. You want to talk about that one at all?
Sure. Fall of the Firmament. So on the EP at the time, that was the newest song that was written. Decided to make that the first track because I just felt like that was the most current in what we were writing. The Fall of Firmament. So the lyrics were written by our former vocalist who's on the EP, Justin Hillman. He's also the band Cranial Damage. But yeah, the lyrics. That song was really about. It's very timely about just technology, how it's kind of consuming our lives. It's taking over our world. For better or for worse. Like technical issues. That's one thing, but
Yep.
yeah, it's especially in a time where you see more and more AI taking over just jobs, taking over people's minds. Just making, in some regards, it's great. Like certain menial tasks, it makes them a lot quicker. Like I talk to friends who are in software engineering, coding. What used to take them hours to scan through thousands of lines to find a single letter that was out of place. Now, boom, just put into an AI and they can track that down. Great, yeah. But it's going to replace a lot of jobs. Professional musicians. That's one I always think about. The quickest example that comes to mind is people who would write jingles. I know a lot of professional musicians. They've made good livings writing jingles, getting licensing, just deals like that. But now any company that wants just some background music for a commercial, are we going to hire somebody a few $1,000s to compose and create a song, or we're just going to pop it into AI and get something that sounds like whatever because it's the background music anyway. I think it's an unfortunate product of the time and that technology.
So what's your take on AI in metal?
So I'm not for it. I mean, metal, especially when I think metal, there's mainstream metal, yes, but so much of what I listen to has been considered underground. Big underground or small underground. Yep. There's different shades of it. But I think what I love about metal is that there's a resistance to that wave, to that technology that's taking the art away from the human.
Yeah.
I believe there's this very strong demand in the underground that there are people who just want something carnal. They want
Yep.
their message, they want their playing, they want their composition to see the light of day and to just hit people's ears. And that's and I see that when I record bands. A lot of the guys I record they have day jobs. You know, they're not full-time professional musicians. Some of them, you know, they might not even be great players. They just, you know, pick up their guitar, they can play their simple parts, but they got a message, they got something to do, they have the will to just, you know, put this emotion out into a sonic vessel, and I can help them facilitate that. And that to me is something, you know, very rewarding. I feel very fortunate to be able to do that and to help bring this forward.
Yeah. So is it your home studio or is it a studio you own?
Yeah. So this is actually this was previously a garage, a 2-car garage. It's an 18 by 20 space. And last summer, I met up with my neighbor. We got the plans together, and yeah, we just took down the door, walled it up, soundproofed the crap out of it, and yeah, now this is my new studio. So I have one main room where, you know, I do my drum tracking and, you know, where my desk is, and then I have a separate ISO room for vocals, guitar cabs, anything that needs, you know, to be in a nice tight dead space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to drop the name of your studio so people can
Yeah.
check it out?
So the name is Frost Gauntlet Recording. FrostGauntletRecording.com is the website. FrostGauntletRecording@gmail.com is my direct contact. If you're interested in coming in, do some recording or having me mix your recordings, you know, I love doing it all.
All right. So finish this sentence for me. Death metal is
Death metal is the most raw form of expression that sees few boundaries and hits like nothing else.
good answer. So where can everybody find your music and merch?
So music and merch, slaughtersunnj.com is the website. We have a Bandcamp, just SlaughtersunNJ on Bandcamp. We also have an Amp-Wall page where we have some t-shirts available, physical copies of our EP, patches. We'll have some more merch dropping a little later this year around the time of the shows.
Okay.
And then, yeah, give us a follow, SlaughtersunNJ on Instagram. You know, SlaughtersunNJ is the handle that I use for everything. So you should be able to
And make sure you pick up the EP Black Marrow because it's stellar.
Please do.
Yeah. Ben, before we go, do you have a message for your fans?
To any of you who already know of Slaughtersun and have listened to the project and followed it, thank you. I appreciate the continued support. I'm dying to hear what you think of this cover we're about to drop and the album. You know, we're working hard, and listening to the rough mixes, I'm very happy with how it's sounding. So I think it'll be something that you all enjoy.
Well, I look forward to hearing it. I appreciate you taking some time with me this evening.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
And keep thrashing.
Hell yeah.
All right. You have a good night, Ben.
Good night. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.